Welcome into the Rockies Insider. I'm your Rockies Insider, Patrick Lyons, discussing the 5-2 Colorado Rockies with a plus 18 run differential. No, I'm not serious about the results of these spring training games, but I am seriously thinking about this first base battle in Rockies camp with T.J. Rumfield and Charlie Condon really leading the way from the back of the pack, the only two of the five battling for that spot at first base who are not on the 40-man roster. Both those guys playing incredibly well. I've got some injury updates, some updates on a pair of former Rockies second basemen, and a $12 million piece of property that was put up for sale that might be of interest to you. Of course, this is coming live from the Rockies Insider channel over on YouTube. So if you have a question or comment or concern, feel free to lob it my way. Felix, first one in, as always. Good to see you, buddy. Are you guys excited right now? It's still early. We've got a little more than a month. If you're listening to this on Friday on the podcast side of things, it's exactly 1 month until the Rockies' first game in Miami on March 27th, the day after the start of the season, the day after opening day. But the Rockies are playing well right now, and that's about as good as you could hope for at this point in spring. And even though some of the players that you're hoping to take a big step forward and become stars, the Brenton Doyles, Ezekiel Tovars, Hunter Goodmans, and the like, despite the fact that some of those guys have yet to get heated up, it's okay because it's spring training, right? They'll be able to figure it out, save your best games for the regular season. But the guys that you want to get hyped for, the guys that are trying to battle for a place on the opening day roster, or at least battle for space in manager Warren Schaefer's mind, so that when it does come time for promotion from down in the minor leagues, this player maybe is at the forefront. Those guys, a lot of those guys performing really, really well. In the chat, Wild the Innocent, 16 hits today. Yes, 11 runs against the Giants on Thursday, 14 runs against the Cubs on Wednesday, 24 combined runs over the past 2 days. I wanted to see when the last time the Rockies had scored 24 runs in consecutive games, not in consecutive games, but over 2 games. They've got a plus 18 run differential. They've won 4 games in a row. They're 5-2, and yet, of course, the Dodgers are 6-0 with a plus 30 something run differential. So if you are a Rockies fan out there hearing that, you're probably saying, can't we have anything nice? No, you can't. You can't have anything nice. But that's not really true because TJ Rumfield has been looking incredibly nice. Dude launched a pair of home runs against the Cubs on Wednesday during his start at first base. He added a home run on Thursday. So home runs in 3 consecutive at-bats for TJ Rumfield. You want to look at the box score and see who he hit those home runs against. Maybe not terribly impressive, but performing in arguably the biggest spot of his career. Because as bright as the lights are in New York, when you go to spring training and you see all those superstars around you, you just want to go do your thing, stay in the zone, make a good impression so that if something happens, maybe you'll get an opportunity if the Ben Rice or the Paul Goldschmidts of the world get injured. Or maybe there'll be a team out there that will be interested and will trade for you. Well, that's finally come to fruition for TJ Rumfield after 5 years in the Yankees minor league system. The Rockies acquire him, and now, not just with a chance to factor in for the Colorado Rockies, because there are a lot of guys who sign non-roster deals that very well could make their debut this year, or at least make their Rockies debut, right? They've played in the majors before, but they have a chance to be a big leaguer once again with Colorado because of so many of the younger players and because of the opportunities a team that has lost 119 games last year brings to them, what they provide to a guy with still plenty of good days ahead of them. Well, Rumfield, again, in a moment in which he has an opportunity to battle for that first base spot for the Rockies, he has performed. Home runs in 3 consecutive at-bats. He's reached He's reached base safely in 6 consecutive plate appearances, 3 homers, a single, and 2 walks. As Warren Schaefer said after the game on Thursday, quote, Rumfield knows the zone very well. I love the walks he's been taking the past couple of days. The homers are great. He seems locked in. You always like to see that out of a guy for competing for a job. So as nice as these quotes are from Warren Schaefer, you're not going to get it. You're not going to be able to glean a ton of information from some of these quotes coming out in spring, because Schaefer's going to say the right things about every guy. He's going to say, hey, looking great, doing the thing, competing, when maybe the staff is already fully aware of the decision that they want to make, but they want to keep those doors open and they don't want to snuff out anybody's flame. You never want that. But TJ Rumfield is very much doing all the right things. Cheesecake, cool and high. Hope you've had a good day. Daniel, yo, can you talk about how TJ was somewhat blocked in the Yankees system? Yeah, I mean, I just did. I kind of touched on it. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt getting signed last year was really a big one. And, Rumfield played well in AA and in AAA in 2024. But of course, when you're the Yankees, you don't know what a prospect is going to be able to do. And a first base prospect at that, those are big shoes typically to fill over at first base. Through the 80s and early 90s, it was Don Mattingly. And then someone like a Tino Martinez, who was great for the Seattle Mariners, got poached by the Yankees, and then he became, an everyday kind of all-star that you saw very frequently. Then it was Jason Giambi coming over from the Oakland A's. Then it was Mark Teixeira for a while. And then, I think first base has just kind of been turned over there in, maybe the past decade or so without any, major superstars, at least none that come to mind for me. So Paul Goldschmidt, sure, bring him in on a 1-year deal. They brought him back again this year. That was even after they had traded TJ Rumfield. So look, he was a guy that was an important depth piece for the Yankees and was probably going to get some playing time this year. But bringing in a young, controllable reliever like Angel Chivigi, the Yankees said, hey, let's go for it. It's a win-win trade. The Rockies get some really good depth over at first base, and the Yankees get themselves a controllable reliever with a lot of upside that maybe is going to be a critical part of their bullpen in seasons to come. So it's just a win-win trade. So the Yankees, they do a good job of developing in their own players, but they've got favoritism to some guys over others. Look at Jason Dominguez, who's continues to get, to roll out their season after season, when it does feel as if there is a little bit of a lack. That certainly defensively, he has his flaws. Offensively, hasn't really been able to get going. How much is that his injuries? How much is that his playing time? But TJ Rumfield just wasn't getting that opportunity. So he got a change of scenery, and he got one of the best ones coming to the Colorado Rockies, and it's worked out for him really, really well. Hello, Go Cardinals. Can you talk about JJ Weatherholt? Not really. This is a Rockies podcast. This is a Rockies show. JJ Weatherholt very well could get himself in line for the National League Rookie of the Year. But hey, the Colorado Rockies are no slouch either, because the Rockies might have their very own Nick Kurtz in Charlie Condon. Condon, the Golden Spikes Award winner back in 2024, the 3rd overall pick in that year's draft by the Colorado Rockies, 1 pick ahead of 2025 AL Rookie of the Year award winner Nick Kurtz. Well, maybe Charlie Condon has figured out a couple of things. He homered for the first time on Tuesday. He added another home run against the Giants on Thursday, getting the start at first base. 359-foot laser to right field. Went the opposite way off of Reaver San Martin, who will be pitching for Team Columbia during the World Baseball Classic. It's a name you may or may not have recognized from his time with the Cincinnati Reds. So quadruple A kind of pitcher, maybe not, but he is a guy. He's a big league type talent out of a bullpen. So that's a nice little notch on the belt for Charlie Condon, who is now batting 1892, 1.892 OPS for Charlie Condon, tops on the team. In fact, that is number 2 in all of Major League Baseball right now. In 7 games, that's all it's been, and it is spring training. You have to consider who Charlie Condon is facing, but still, you look and say, hey, he's number 3 with that 1892 OPS. TJ Rumfield right behind him on the team with a 1682 OPS. That's good for 5th best in all of baseball. And then, oh yeah, Chad Stevens, the guy I mentioned the other day, was a sneaky good pickup. He had a good season at AAA with the Salt Lake Bees, the Angels AAA affiliate. And he's, I don't think he's battling for a spot on the opening day roster, but he's surprising. I think he very well could be a depth piece that we see a lot in 2026. He's got himself a 1490 OPS. So Rockies are hitting well. Rockies doing really well. There's 9 different Rockies who've already homered so far through this first week of baseball, including Mickey Moniak, who we finally saw with a leadoff home run in Wednesday's game, his first in-game action. So, okay, JJ Weatherholt, you can have your list of NL Rookie of the Year award candidates. I think Charlie Condon probably in the past couple days, since the last week, his stock is definitely rising as a potential NL Rookie of the Year award candidate. And if you go back and look at the history of Rookie of the Years, whether it's AL or NL, you don't necessarily need to be on the opening day roster in order to win that award. So whether he starts the year in AAA or he's the starting first baseman in Miami on March 27th, doesn't really matter. It's not really going to impact his chances at the Rookie of the Year award. So good for him. Kansas Owens, go Rockies. Glad someone cares about our squad. I mean, yeah, it's the Rockies insider, so of course I have to know what's going on with the Rockies. I follow all of Major League Baseball. I think that's one of the reasons why I think I'm a good podcaster, why I'm a good journalist, because I know what's going on outside of Denver as well. And if you're too locked in on just the Rockies, you're going to end up missing out on a lot. Felix asks, what's up with Ryan Ritter at left field? Yeah, they're adding outfield to his bag of tricks, to his bag of gloves, because Ryan Ritter, a middle of the infield kind of guy, he's looked good out there so far. I think that just increases his value and likelihood of making the opening day roster because he can play multiple positions. Because maybe Willie Castro is the backup shortstop, then do you need Ryan Ritter? Well, maybe not at shortstop necessarily, but he can play second, he can play third, he can even go to the outfield. You never know who is going to be healthy on the opening day roster. From left to right, it's going to be Jake McCarthy, Brenton Doyle, and Jordan Beck, with Mickey Moniak subbing in there on right field on any given day. So you've got 4 outfielders right there. Troy Johnson can play first base and in the corners, and Willie Castro can play the outfield a little bit as well. So you've got some options there. Tyler Freeman can play right field. But if you can play all those positions, if you can play the infield and the outfield, that's gonna give a lot of value to any player. So Ryan Ritter being able to play outfield is a good thing defensively. The bat needs to just progress a little bit more, and that's what he's working on. He's already got himself a home run so far this spring. Now, on the pitching side of things, Antonio Senzatela, you might have seen on Wednesday, he came in after Jose Quintana, who had a scoreless inning of work, and Senzatela, 3 scoreless frames, 53 pitches, had 3 strikeouts, only allowed a hit, walked 1, as he is about to make his debut, or rather go and depart the Rockies this weekend to go to be a part of Team Venezuela for the World Baseball Classic. So don't expect to see Antonio Senzatela anytime soon. Jose Quintana very well could be done here very soon, as he's getting himself ready for Team Colombia. Michael Lorenzen, we know, is going to be contributing to Team Italy. And, there could be a couple surprise players here and there, because there are guys going down to injury that are not able to participate anymore. I mean, Taj Bradley was one who he's no longer going to be playing with Team Mexico because of an injury. We know about Corbin Carroll not participating in the World Baseball Classic because of his hamate bone injury, and he is out for Team USA. So there's going to be guys who get hurt, and maybe there's going to be another Rocky or two that's on one of these temporary rosters. So we'll see what happens if the Rockies have somebody else go out. But Warren Schaefer said it earlier in the year. I got the video over on the Rockies Insider channel on YouTube. Actually, it was Paul DePodesta who said it. Excuse me. But because of so many pitchers, Tomoyuki Sagano, he's already out. He's yet to make his Rockies debut in spring training. He's already practicing with Samurai Japan, getting ready for their first game coming up next week, as The games going on over in Asia will start next week for the World Baseball Classic. And Sagano, yet to make his Rockies debut, he's out. So a lot of the Rockies rotation is going to be participating in the World Baseball Classic. And so expect to see a lot more of those younger guys. The Sean Sullivans getting stretched out, the Gabriel Hugheses will of the world. So we'll see how that ends up happening. In the chat, let's get to the injuries. Yes. How did Kyle Karros look today after getting hit in the head the other day? He is fine. Did get hit in the helmet on Tuesday, but was checked out. Totally good. Not a big issue. Bretton Doyle, he was scratched from Wednesday's lineup because of wrist soreness, was held out on Thursday as well. Did undergo some imaging to the wrist. No results back yet. Thomas Harding all over that one. Edward Julian, low back tightness, as he is another one of those guys who could factor in over at first base. You know, he's got first base experience, but I think because he is predominantly a second baseman and because you already have a lefty first base bat in Troy Johnston, I don't know why you need both of those guys. Now, if Troy Johnston is needed in the corner outfield because maybe he provides a better look over a Mickey Moniak in left or right field when Beck or McCarthy needs a day off, or Bretton Doyle needs a day off and McCarthy's in center, then okay, Julian needs to be over at first base. But if everyone's healthy, I don't think we should really see Edward Julian a lot over at first base. And, you know, even if Johnson isn't the solution, he isn't the guy that the Rockies want to go with, or he's hurt, I think T.J. Rumfield, also hitting from the left-hand side, is going to get more opportunities at first base than Julian. But with this low back tightness that Julian has, you have to think, okay, is he now going to be out of the World Baseball Classic? Because he is, you know, a big factor in Team Canada's plans. You know, he was big for them in the 2023 World Baseball Classic. He performed incredibly well. So we'll kind of wait to see what happens with his health going forward. Carson Palmquist, who took a line drive off the shin the other day, should be okay. It's one of the reasons why you haven't really been seeing him yet. Kyle Freeland, who was scratched over the weekend, he did have a good bullpen session on Wednesday, could end up making his Cactus League debut next week. McCade Brown, he's scheduled to throw a bullpen session on Friday. He's got a bit of a shoulder issue. We'll wait and see what's happening with him. In Rockies second baseman news, you may or may not have heard a few days ago, Thairo Estrada signed a minor league deal with the Baltimore Orioles. And Brendan Rodgers, who's playing with the Boston Red Sox, in case you forgot, he's also in the AL East. But unfortunately, on Wednesday, he exited the game with another shoulder injury. So sad to see, frustrating to see that Brendan Rodgers, just majority of his career really sidelined due to injuries, not really able to take off. And, you know, being selected right after the likes of Dansby Swanson and Alex Bregman. And yeah, you know, 6 years of service time in the majors for Brendan Rodgers. That's better than a lot of other third overall picks and a couple other second and first overall picks. So, you know, he has contributed on the big league stage, but just hasn't been healthy enough to really, you know, feel like he's become the dude that a lot of people I think expected him to be, right? Matt Holliday putting his home in Stillwater, Oklahoma up for sale at $12 million, 136-acre luxury property. And yes, it does have a baseball field. No surprise there. Injuries opening a spot for RJ Pettit. I mean, arguably, RJ Pettit has a spot. And I say arguably because if the Rockies don't decide to keep him on the opening day roster, great question about RJ Pettit. If they decide to not keep him on the opening day roster and he's not hurt, they do have to send him back to the Detroit Tigers. Now, the Tigers might say, we're good. You can keep him for cash considerations, or, you know, toss in this really low-level prospect and you can hold on to RJ Pettit. You can work out something like that. But the only way that you are guaranteed to keep RJ Pettit is if he is on your opening day roster. He can start the year on the IL, but he still needs a certain amount of days active on the active 26-man roster in order to be cleared, in order to be there's no better way to say it, property, quote unquote, of the Colorado Rockies. This happened 5 years ago at this point. Julian Fernandez, the guy who's thrown 100 miles an hour in the minor leagues, Julian Fernandez was claimed in the Rule 5 draft. I think it was first by the Marlins, and then it was by the Giants. But he spent the entire first year with the Marlins after being selected in the Rule 5 draft on the 60-day IL because he was coming back from Tommy John surgery. So he couldn't pitch. Well, guess what? He's not. He is not under club control. He was not an official member of the Marlins at that point. And so the Giants were able to claim him on waivers. I don't think he was selected twice in Rule 5 draft. I could be wrong about that. But I think he was claimed on waivers because, again, he was not Marlins property, quote unquote. So the Giants held on to him, and he stayed on the 60-day IL for that entire season as well. And then eventually went back to the Rockies because under the rules, he was their property. He was under their club control, and he had yet to, properly make his debut. So when he finally did make his major league debut, I think that was in 2022, when Julian Fernandez finally made his major league debut, he had already had 2 years of service time, which is wild. So technically he wasn't a rookie, despite the fact that he had never played a game yet. In fact, he wasn't a rookie. There was a game that he pitched in, and I think it was Ashton Godot. There was like 3 to 4 rookies. I think it was 4 rookies that had pitched in that game, when in actuality it wasn't 4 because Julian Fernandez wasn't actually a rookie at any point because he had that 2 years of service time. So just a weird wrinkle, to say the least here. Rockies schedule going forward here. I mean, I'm looking at their statistics right now, and the guys are performing here in a really, really great way. They're home on Friday and Saturday against the Padres and Royals, and then we flip the calendar to March. It's already March. Yes. Can you believe it? Sunday, March 1st against the Guardians in Goodyear. And then Monday, you got the Dodgers. All right. Off day on Tuesday. Got to figure out something to do. You may need to talk to your family on Tuesday, March 3rd. And then the big one, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, March 4th, Wednesday, against Team USA, the greatest team ever assembled against the 119-loss Colorado Rockies, who they changed their personnel, so it is very much different. But nevertheless, that is a big one on the schedule. Check that out. Final question. Have you seen the Rockies giveaway promotions? Any one of them you're looking forward to? Sorry for the off-topic question. All good. All good. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a bucket hat that's kind of interesting looking, and there's a Rockies hat that just has like hot dog emojis on it, which looks so bad that it's kind of good. The Rockies, I think, are stepping up a little bit on the promotions this year. I mean, they're always usually really good, and they do typically in and around, I want to say May, maybe even June, they'll add a couple more promotions on the schedule for August and September. So there is, I think, a Hunter Goodman bobblehead, and then a player to be named later bobblehead, or there's going to be a City Connect jersey that's given away of a player that they haven't determined yet, because who's going to be with the team at that point. Maybe they're ironing out a couple of details, but Rockies always have good giveaways. You just have to be careful when you look on the schedule, because it could be part of a special ticket package, which means you're basically paying a little bit extra for your seat in order to cover the cost of that promotion. So yeah, there you go. You're going to the Hello Kitty night. And honestly, I thought about it because my wife has been a Hello Kitty fan forever. I mean, she's been to Japan, not for Hello Kitty. It's just kind of a coincidence, but she's a big Hello Kitty head. And in Northern Colorado, they opened up a place called Daiso, Daiso, and they've got a ton of Sanrio products. They've got Hello Kitty stuff. It's basically like a Japanese version of Five Below. It's kind of cool. It's worth checking out. But I've been thinking about that April 18th, I want to say, for the Hello Kitty special ticket package. I mean, I'll be there covering the game. I'll be in the press box, but maybe I also want to buy a ticket and then just walk through the gate and get a backpack for my wife or something like that. We don't need it. We've already have plenty of stuff, but they've got some good things. Yeah, the Fourth Wing giveaway that they've got, the promotion, I think that might be a special ticket package. I'm not sure, but they're doing some awesome stuff. And I talked about it the other day. Tupac Shakur bobblehead. Get one going for next year. Catch the fever. Rockies do a good job. We know about the environment at Coors Field. We know how well they take care of their people, the loyalty, the fan experience. Few ballparks do it better than the Colorado Rockies. So you won't be disappointed with the giveaways this year. No two ways about it. No doubt about it. At Patrick D. Lyons on X, at Patrick D. Lyons MLB on Blue Sky and TikTok, and the Rockies Insider channel over on YouTube. Go over, check out plenty of videos, plenty of shorts as well. Appreciate all the support and love on the YouTube side of things. It really goes a long way. Appreciate all the momentum as well. But unfortunately, as you know, momentum, it's only as good as my next show. So, of course, I'll talk to you then.